Well, everyone, I wasn't expecting to make this video, but at some point I was like, you know what? I've done all those speed comparisons, I've done all those things. I think I have to make this video at this point. Basically, the iPhone SE2, iPhone SE 2020, whatever you want to call it, has a humongous issue. I wasn't expecting it to be on this phone. I was expecting it, and I wasn't even expecting it to be on the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro. But the phones that have that A13 chip for some reason do a really, really bad job at RAM management. And if you guys don't know what RAM management is, basically it's keeping apps in the background. If you have a bunch of apps like I do right now in the background and you want to go and load them up, you probably, if all these apps are open, you probably shouldn't expect all of them to be open every single time, but you shouldn't also expect every single app to restart for the most part, right? Well, that's completely true, and I 100% agree with that. But the weird thing is that when I was doing those speed comparisons, first of all, the SE2 is a pretty fast phone. It really is probably one of the fastest phones out there. It does really everything I threw at it perfectly fine for the most part. What I will tell you though is that when I was comparing this phone, first of all, to a phone like an iPhone XS, and that's when I started seeing it. So I did the speed comparison and I was like, okay, the RAM management, it really isn't that great. The SE2 is, definitely not as good of a RAM management device as the iPhone XS. And I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense because the XS, has 4 gigs of RAM, the SE2 has 3 gigs of RAM, so maybe it's okay, maybe it's not that big video, whatever. Then when I did the SE2 versus the iPhone X speed comparison, that's when I saw that the 10 was doing better than the SE2 as well in terms of RAM management. Now, on the SE2's defense, it was faster at opening the apps, but when I was doing the RAM management, I was like, wow, the iPhone SE2 really isn't even doing as great as the iPhone X, and they have the exact same amount of RAM in both of those phones. And I was like, it's just like another weird thing. I was like, why does this keep happening? It's such a weird little thing. However, the SE2 was still opening all those apps still faster, so I guess that was a really good thing. But the RAM side of things just wasn't that great. And then this is so weird, I did an SE2 versus iPhone 8 Plus, and that ended up being the same thing. RAM management really wasn't that great on the SE2. But then I did the other day the iPhone 7 versus the iPhone SE2 on the RAM management side, and speed tests, everything seemed to be better on the SE2. It was loading up the apps faster and everything, which was really good. But then when I got into that RAM management portion, the iPhone 7 ended up keeping more apps in the background than the iPhone SE2. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, if I'm about to spend over $400 on a phone, I'm expecting it to be an overall better phone than an older device, especially a device that has less RAM and an older chipset in that phone. Now, they were both on iOS 13 on the latest versions. They all had the exact same apps for the most part. Most of them were up to date for the most part. They were probably 1 month behind in updates, but that wouldn't have really mattered anyway. So for the most part, the iPhone SE2 should have been the faster phone, which it was, but it should have been better at the RAM management side as well. What is the point of having more RAM if it doesn't do a better job? It's like having the best chipset in the world and everything like that, but it being slower than last year's phone. It doesn't really make any sense at all. Now you might say, oh, but this is a $400 phone, it shouldn't be what. Yeah, I understand, but then what's the point of having more RAM inside of a device if it doesn't do its job? You know what I mean? And with the iPhone 7, that phone you could probably pick up for $120, $150 now. That thing does not cost that much. This thing, like I said, costs over $400, so you should be getting a overall better phone, and you kind of are when it comes down to the speed. But that RAM management side, I don't know what's going on. And even today, I just compared this phone to the 7 Plus, and I saw the same exact thing. The 7 Plus was better at the RAM management side. The SE2 was just not quite keeping up with those phones, and I don't know what to make of it. Obviously, it's definitely not looking good for the SE2. The weird thing though, like I stated, speed improvements and everything, those are real. The SE2 is an extremely fast phone. Really, everything I played on it, all the games and everything, it ran perfectly fine. I didn't really have any issues there. My main issue came with the RAM management, which is pretty much the whole entire deal of this specific video. So, in my opinion, if you need a phone that's, extremely good at speed and everything, this is a good priced phone for that. But Apple really needs to address this RAM management issue. It's a really big deal. It stemmed from the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro. I've seen it on those ones. I kind of forgot about it and I wasn't expecting it to see it on here, but once I saw it on here, I remember that. And the SE2 is definitely, this is proof that this is an issue. So let me know what you guys think. It's extremely weird. I don't know why this keeps happening, but it is what it is, and I guess we'll figure out what happens after. But that's really pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit that like button, I'll definitely appreciate it, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel, all those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate it if you guys would check it out. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.